21 minutes past 7. Andrew Castle here. I'll take you through the front pages. COVID's impact on mental health for the last years. This is from the Royal College. NHS urging to prepare for the biggest threat since the Second World War. That is a significant concern. Of course, concern from the people who've been talking about it for donkeys years, it seems like. Also, vaccine strategy puts NHS staff at risk. I find this quite intriguing as well, because the COVID, the vaccine to frontline staff, Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, it says here it's leaving doctors alarmed and scrambling to get immunised. I'm extremely concerned about the vaccination rollout and how effective it is. They fear the government's decision, these medics, the government's decision to prioritise over 18s and care home staff over health workers has left them at risk of catching the disease, especially given the emergence of this virulent new strain. And yet, moving from the front page of The Guardian to, as it happens, page 7 of the Daily Mail, up to 80% of care homes not yet lined up for the programme. So these are the sorts of things that we've got to watch out for as the vaccine is rolled out, particularly the Oxford AstraZeneca one. Hundreds of thousands of care home residents have been left waiting for the vaccine despite being vulnerable to COVID-19. So, you know, a real strain between what is on the front page of The Guardian and what I'm reading here in the Daily Mail. What is the reality of vaccinations to people in care homes? I think, judging from what people are saying, it's an absolute, lottery as to whether you're going to get it. We know the difficulties, but front page Mail, a jab in your village hall, hundreds of pop-up GP-led centres on the way as part of a huge vaccination drive. This is all about the Oxford vaccine set to come as early as today. I'm sure that's expecting more on that in a second. Telegraph, volunteer army, staying with the story, volunteer army, ready to distribute COVID vaccine. More than 10,000 recruits poised to begin inoculations when jab is approved this week. And making the point that deaths so far from COVID in this nation, 70,752 people in the UK. Times newspaper this morning, hospital cases of COVID surge towards new high. You don't have to look too far in the papers this morning to take stories of the reality on the front line in hospitals, what that means to other services being offered to hospitals, and also the ambulance service as well. The Sun newspaper, Back to the Future, UK jab ready in days, and the Daily Mirror just says a shot at freedom. Okay, for Oxford vaccine is seen as best chance of easing restrictions, but when? I was speaking to LBC yesterday. Dr. Julian Tang, consultant virologist at Leicester Royal Infirmary, said the AstraZeneca Oxford jab is the front runner for vaccinating the majority of the UK population.
So homegrown vaccine is made, it's going to be made at AstraZeneca, the commercial partner of the Oxford Group, I think at the Cambridge Science Park area, and it's going to be rolled out in massive quantities at normal standard refrigeration temperatures, 2 to 8 degrees, just like the flu vaccine. And of course the government's purchased 100 million doses of that vaccine, which is enough for 50 million people, versus just 40 million doses of the Pfizer-BioNTech and just 7 million doses of the Moderna vaccine. So it's definitely the front runner for the UK population. And of course they have promises to help the lower middle income countries to distribute some of the vaccine as well, especially with such a low purchase price.
Well, that's Dr. Tang. With me now, David Matthews, a reader in virology at Bristol University. David Matthews, good morning.
Good morning.
This is a very important week, isn't it? How excited are you about the rollout of this? Well, not the rollout of the vaccine, but the approval.
Yes, I mean, assuming the approval goes ahead this week, as everyone's talking about, then it's going to be a fantastic step forward. It's really going to speed up massively our efforts to vaccinate as many people as possible over the coming months, and hopefully turn the tide against the virus.
2 injections again for maximum effectiveness. Is that what we're looking at?
Yes, I think that's most people are expecting that. There's no unusual for vaccines to need 2 doses in what's called a prime boost regimen. So first dose sort of wakes your immune system up and it gives you the idea that there's something going on, and it starts to train itself on the proteins that you've shown it that are from the coronavirus. And then the boost does 2 things. First of all, in people that responded straight away, it boosts the amount of antibodies that they make, so they now make even more antibodies, and even more their immune system revolutionise this type of approach, and it's sort of a tried and tested method of giving people a great chance of fighting off infectious disease.
And having the second jabs so important. The complexities of rolling out a vaccine and doing this many inoculations. Have you been impressed so far from what you've seen of the plans to inoculate everybody?
Well, so far, even with the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine, which you're right is logistically a more complex problem, from what I've seen so far, it's amazing. We're vaccinating people faster than the virus is spreading, which is great news. And with the Oxford vaccines, somewhat simpler logistics and the familiarity, as your other commentator was saying, with the fact that it's very similar to the storage and handling of the normal flu vaccine, means we should be able to ramp that up enormously and gain a real pace on this and really strip ahead of the spread of the virus. That's the most important thing.
We seem to have had a perennial problem in this country. I don't know what it's like globally in trying to get the elderly, people perhaps who are not as mobile as others, people who are older, in other words, those who are vulnerable in care homes, inoculated, and it seems to have continued that problem. I wonder one day when we look back at how we've treated these people, I don't think we're going to be too proud of the country. But I guess people are trying. But the Oxford AstraZeneca jab will open new horizons for people in that way if we can get it into elderly arms, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, the vaccination strategy has been carefully thought out, and some very difficult decisions being made. But what you're hoping to get here is the most bang for buck as quickly as possible. And of course, the faster you get it to those who are most vulnerable, the quicker you'll relieve the pressure on the healthcare system. And yeah, as I said, the fact that this vaccine is easier logistically to move around and store, and it can be kept in a normal fridge, that's going to be a massive help in the process of getting those that are most vulnerable vaccinated as quickly as possible.
Have we found out anything more about this new jab, assuming it's going to be approved, and its effectiveness on these new variants that keep popping up?
Well, as I understand it, lots of work is underway to try and work out whether the new variant is able to evade the vaccine. All the indication we have and everything we know so far, and the pace of scientific research for this virus has been absolutely phenomenal, suggests that the vaccine probably will work on this new variant. So that's a great sign. Although I think we'll have more definitive information in the next few weeks as tests are done. What you've got to remember is that actually working out whether the new variant is affected or not affected by the vaccine is actually quite a complex problem, because there are multiple layers to the way your immune system fights off a disease, and it's relatively straightforward to test some aspects of how the immune system fights off the disease and work out whether the vaccine will still work. But there are other layers to your immune system which are really very challenging to prove one way or another whether the vaccine will still work. So that's why everyone's reasonably hopeful that actually the vaccine will work, because there are so many different layers to the way your immune system fights off a disease that at this stage it seems highly unlikely that the new variant can evade the vaccinee's immune system.
Okay, well, it's a very big week, an important week. Thanks for your time early this morning on LBC. That's David Matthews. He's a reader in virology at Bristol University. 7:30 is the time. Just wondering what you make of the EU-UK deal. If you are a Labour or a Lib Dem voter, or perhaps SNP, would you be happy, despite perhaps the thoughts of your representative, that they vote for this deal? Because the alternative is a no deal. Those 345 60 609 73. If you work in industry, have you got any idea what's going on from the first when these rules change? But as well as that, we'll take the temperature of the business world, and as it opens up and considers the EU-UK deal. It's a strange week, bound to be a thin week of trading, but Justin Urquhart-Stewart will give us his view next and after the news on LBC. From Holly Harris.
COVID-19 hospital admissions across the UK are nearing a level not seen since the first peak in April. The most recent figures showed more than 21,000 patients are being treated. The London Ambulance Service says it had one of its busiest days ever at the weekend. Supermarkets in England are going to be banned from putting on promotions involving food high in fat, sugar or salt. The restrictions apply to bigger shops and cover things like buy one get one free deals placed at checkouts. The post-Brexit trade deal between the UK and EU is being scrutinised by European Parliament group leaders today, who are expected to back it. The agreement's also likely to be approved by MPs in the Commons on Wednesday, although the SNP says it will vote against it. And the weather, showers in the west and over Northern Ireland, some sleet and snow possible through the Midlands, a high of 6 Celsius.
LBC into 2021.
I'm Ian Dale, and thank you for joining me on LBC for the last year. Denise is in Enfield. Hi, Denise.
I think the question that you posed, which is about the social distancing of the BAME protesters, was posed to create a particular response. A lot of people have come onto the streets because we're very concerned. We're facing coronavirus plus racism.
Not only were the demonstrators not practicing social distancing, there was a street party in Brent. Hundreds of people clearly not practicing social distancing. Now, I don't care whether they're black or white. That is wrong. I'll be back in the new year taking your calls for 2021.
Ian Dale on LBC.
The Central London Congestion Charge and the Ultra-Low Emission Zone are now back in operation. NHS Trust and care home workers may be able to claim congestion charge reimbursements for work journeys. Some NHS patients may be able to claim congestion charge and ultra-low emission zone reimbursements from their participating treating hospital. For information on the hours of operation and eligibility criteria, search TfL Driving. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
Dine in this new year for just £15 for two of you. Enjoy a main, side, wine, plus a starter or dessert. Our best ever chicken Kiev, delicious Conte Poulet Prosecco, and maybe a gastropub melt in the middle pudding. This is not just food, this is M&S food. All your M&S food departments are open. Over 18s only, selected stores only, T&C supply.
It's stuck.
But you know what to do. It's lift and pull. Lift and pull, lift and pull.
Oh, for pity's sake, all I want is a teaspoon.
Kitchen causing you a little house embarrassment? At Wix, we'll create your dream kitchen from design to show off ready. And now